ready for some Miami Heat basketball with Deron Butler on Kendall Sports Network.
On fire.
And good Sunday evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you feel the vice again? I know I can. It's Sunday night, or Sunday evening I should say, in the 305, as the Miami Heat look to bounce back after a tough loss against Minnesota, as they host the New Orleans Pelicans, Vice Style Part 2. I'm Deron Butler, welcoming you to another edition of Heat Zone Live, courtesy of Kendall Sports Network. The Heat are on back-to-back and look to continue their scoring game, their high scoring this season, this time hosting the powerful Zion Williamson, the smooth Jeremiah Fears, and the quick Derek Queen in the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, don't let the record fool you. New Orleans right now are 8 wins, 28 losses, but they're still a very competitive team. And speaking of competitiveness, here are my 3 keys for tonight's game. Key number 1 is asserting your defense. Last night's game against Minnesota, Miami's defense got really out of whack. They got really screwed up against this Minnesota team consisting of Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, and the other tall Frenchman, Rudy Gobert. Nevertheless, the Miami Heat needs to get back to their defensive mindset, while also utilizing that offensive flow and pace that they've been bringing back as of late. So if Miami can utilize and assert their defense, they will be just fine in this game. Key number 2 is to utilize the mid-range game. Now, I may not have watched a few New Orleans Pelicans games, but for some of the wings and some of the guards, they will have to utilize the mid-range game, as well as some of the three-point shooting to mix it up against New Orleans defense. The Pelicans, they do have Zion Williamson, who is a commanding force on his own. But if you can stop the Pelicans in their tracks with some mid-range shooting, you have a chance. And third and finally, get aggressive in the paint on both ends of the floor. This goes especially for not just Bam Adebayo and Kelly Oubre, but for the rest of the Heat squad. Yes, you're going up against Zion Williamson, as I mentioned, but if you go body for body and bang in the paint against them, you have a solid chance of winning. So sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Kind of got a call from someone backstage. But as I was saying, the Miami Heat need to get aggressive in the paint, assert themselves on the defensive end, as well as utilize the mid-range game. So those are my 3 keys right now for the Miami Heat. Right now the players are warming up, and we should have the starting lineups and the opening tip-off. Well, actually, let me get to the starting lineups right away, because that's more important right now. So the starting lineups for the visiting New Orleans Pelicans consist of Jeremiah Fears at the point, Trey Murphy III at shooting guard, Zion Williamson, he is starting at small forward, Carlo Makovich at power forward, and at center you have Derek Queen. And for your Miami Heat, the usual suspects, the 5 that we all love the most. At point guard, Davion Mitchell, Shooting guard, Norman Powell. At small forward, we have Andrew Wiggins. Power forward, Bam Adebayo, El Capitan. And at center, someone who I believe should be an all-star this season, along with Norman Powell, and that is Kel'el Ware. While on the subject of all-stars, the NBA All-Star voting is now underway, and don't waste time to not vote for your Miami Heat to make it to the All-Star game. Whether it's Bam Adebayo, whether it's Norman Powell, whether it's Kel'el Ware, or even someone like Jaime Jaquez Jr., make sure to vote for your Miami Heat and feel represented at the All-Star game in LA this year. So right now, players are still warming up, and we will have opening tip-off very soon. And we are back, ready for tonight's game. Pelle Larsson is now back in the lineup for Miami. He missed the last 2 games for the Heat, out with an ankle sprain, I believe, from the Denver Nuggets game. But right now, the players are already warmed up. We are ready for tip-off. I think the Heat's gonna win this one. I think it's gonna be a very high-scoring game. And I also believe that we're gonna see some double-doubles from both Bam Adebayo and Kelly Ware. So I'm ready to get the action underway. Alright, we see Davion Mitchell. He's already warmed up for this one. Also see Kelly Ware getting ready. Here's the tip. And Miami will have possession of the ball. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Kicks it out to Wiggins. Out to Bam. Bam kicks it out to Davion for a 3. And good night, off night, Davion Mitchell knocks down the 3 to put Miami on the board. Here comes New Orleans. Jeremiah Fierce kicks it out to Zion Williamson. Out to Derek Queen. Here comes Derek Queen again. And he gets the layup. And New Orleans are on the board. Here comes Andrew Wiggins. Kicks it out to Norman Powell. Norman Powell gets fouled. And ooh! That was a sweet shot. A sweet 3. And that's going to be a rare 4-point play for Miami. Derek Queen overcommitted on that defense. And Norman Powell took advantage of it. I said it once, and I'll say it again. You don't foul a shooter when they are going for 3. And of course, Norman Powell missing that opportunity for a 4-point play. Miami leads by 4 in this one. Here comes New Orleans again. That's a long 3, and they knock it down. The Pelicans trail by 1 in this game. Here comes Wiggins. Wiggins kicks it out to Norman Powell. Back to Wiggins for 3. And that's a miss. Rebound by New Orleans. Markovic has it. Gives it to Zion Williamson, who muscles his way in but gets fouled. But that's going to be out of bounds on New Orleans. So it'll be Heat ball. Andrew Wiggins given the task to guarding the big man. But Williamson knocks the ball out of bounds. And here comes Norman Powell, gives it to Bam. Bam loses the ball, and here comes the Pelicans. And alley-oop to give New Orleans the lead. Markovic with the assist. Trey Murphy scoring for that dunk. And here comes New Orleans again. Miami again. Powell out to Davion Mitchell for 3. And good night, off night, Davion Mitchell knocks down the 3. The Heat retake the lead in this one. And here comes Zion Williamson, being guarded by Wiggins. Zion, Zion took a nasty fall, but Miami will be charged with a foul. This one's going to be on Wiggins. And there we see another replay of that alley-oop from New Orleans. Trey Murphy really got up there for that dunk. And that's going to be out of bounds on New Orleans, as the Heat will have possession of the ball. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Mitchell being guarded. Miami swinging the ball around. They miss it the three. And here comes the New Orleans. New Orleans looking to tie the game. And they do. A nice floater from Trey Murphy III. They're all tied at 9. Here comes Wiggins. Out to Davion Mitchell, who steps out of bounds. So it'll be Pelicans ball. Here comes Jeremiah Fears. Fears being guarded by Davion Mitchell. Fears for 3. And he knocks it down. And the Pelicans lead by 3. Alright, here comes Wiggins. Wiggins. Almost out of bounds. And that's a nice 3 from Go-Go Norman Powell Ranger. As the Heat tie the game at 12. And just like that, New Orleans comes back to retake the lead. Derek Queen getting the basket. Ooh, someone checked the heat on Norman Powell, sinking yet another 3 as Miami takes the lead again. Go Norman Powell Ranger. Here comes Jeremiah Fears, guarded by Powell. Jeremiah Fears gets fouled, and that will send him to the line for 2 free throws. Jeremiah Fears missing the first free throw. Right now, Norman Powell is leading the way in points right now, as Derek Queen knocks down the second free throw. And here comes the Heat. Bam, backing down Zion, but kicks it out to Davion Mitchell for 3. And good night, off night, Davion Mitchell again for 3. Miami right now are 6 for 8 from 3-point land, while New Orleans have gone 2 for 2. Good heads up play by Bam to find Davion Mitchell open for the 3. Donovan Mitchell and Norman Powell both with 9 points each in this one. Derek Queen missing the first free throw. And he goes 1 of 2 from the line. So it's now a 2-point game. Davion Mitchell passing the ball way over the head of Bam. And that's going to be a costly turnover. As a 3 for New Orleans? No. Rebound by Zion. And Zion powers his way through to tie the game at 18. Alright, here comes Davion Mitchell. Gives it to Norman Powell. To Wiggins. Wiggins gets fouled and will go to the line for 2 free throws. That foul is going to be on Carlo Makovic. Wiggins definitely got his man beat to the basket, which will prompt him to 2 free throws out of that foul. Wiggins makes the first, and the Heat retake the lead again. Jordan Poole is now in the game for New Orleans. Former Golden State Warrior and NBA champion in his own right. And Andrew Wiggins makes both free throws. So we now have a 2-point game. Here comes Jordan Poole, guarded by Davion Mitchell. Poole gives it to the Derek Queen. Queen being guarded by Kelly Ware. Jordan Poole. Back to Zion. Back to Jordan Poole for 3. And Jordan Poole sinks the 3. I'm sorry, that was a 2-pointer. So we're all tied at 20. And here comes the Heat again. Norman Powell. And go Norman Powell Ranger. Another 3 for Miami. So far it's been back and forth in this game. And that's gonna be another foul on Miami. And that will prompt a Pelicans timeout. So far there's been some rapid shooting, especially from behind the arc from Norman Powell and Davion Mitchell. The Heat lead 23-20. And we will be right back with more Heat action on this Sunday evening. And we are back. The score was originally 23-20, but I see the referees have changed their minds and counted that 3-pointer from earlier. So it's now 23-21 in favor of Miami. And speaking of 3-pointers, Davion Mitchell and especially Norman Powell have been on point from behind the arc. Norman Powell with 12 points, going 4 for 4 from behind the arc. And Davion Mitchell with 9 points, going 3 for 3 from downtown. Right now, the Pelicans have the ball. Pelle Larsson's now in the game, along with Nikola Jovic. Nikola Jovic, so far, he's been finding his game. And he's been improving ever since. And that's a rebound by Jovic. Here comes Jovic going coast to coast. Gets fouled and will go to the line for the N1. Love that for him. If Jovic can continue this up, I think he may have some consideration for most improved player. But only if he can continue this little stretch of his so far. Derek Queen will come out of the game with 5 points and 2 fouls for New Orleans. And Jovic sinks the N1. Yves Messi is now in the game for New Orleans. Another French big that can definitely dominate the paint. And here comes another three for New Orleans. It's a miss. Rebound by Nikola Jovic. Jovic gives it to Norman Powell. Powell gets fouled. And he will go to the line for 3 free throws. That foul is on Yves Missy. Norman Powell sinks the first, and that gives Miami a 6-point lead. Norman Powell sinking the second free throw. Again, he got fouled from behind the arc, so he is shooting 3 free throws. And Powell makes all 3 free throws. So it's now an 8-point game for Miami. Powell right now with 15 points, going 3 for 4 shooting from the free throw line. And Zion Williamson powers through for the layup. Here comes Pelle Larsson flying in, and he gets the layup. Sorry, that was Nikola Jovic flying in for the layup. Excuse me. Love that for him, by the way. Nikola Jovic with 5 points so far in this game. And Zion Williamson again getting the basket for New Orleans. Here comes Bam. Bam being guarded. Kicks it out to Jovic for 3. And Nikola Jovic 3 for Miami. Jovic right now with 8 points, getting in on the 3-point trend. And that ball will rim out for New Orleans. Here comes Powell. Kicks it out to Pelle Larsson. Missing that 3-pointer. And the ball goes back to New Orleans. Here comes Zion Williamson. The spin. And he gets the layup. Zion Williamson again for New Orleans. He has 8 points, going 4 for 4 shooting from the field. Another miss for Pelle Larsson, and that will lead to another rebound for the Pelicans. Ooh! A nice putback for the Pelicans. And they continue to knock away at Miami's lead. Here comes Jovic again. And Nikola Jovic another 3. Miami right now is filling it up from behind the arc. And that will prompt another timeout for the Pelicans. The Heat right now are on a roll on offense. And their defense are definitely looking much better from last night's. Miami leads 37-29. And we'll be back for more Heat action. Vice style. And we are back. Score is 37-29 in favor of Miami. The threes continue to fall, but this time it's a scoring from Nikola Jovic. So far he has 8 points in this game, and he has been feeling it so far. 11 points, going 4 for 4 from the field in only 2 minutes. Definitely loving this improved Nikola Jovic right now. New Orleans has the ball. Bringing it up to the floor. Drew Smith is now in the game for Miami. And that's an open three. And that's a miss. Rebound by Drew Smith. Pushes it up ahead. Gives it to Bam, who hasn't scored yet. And he still missed the shot. And here comes the Pelicans. And step back three. And it goes down. The Pelicans now trail by 5. Trey Murphy again with the basket. He has 10 points, going 2 for 4 shooting from behind the arc. Bam, gives it to Pelle Larsson, and that's an easy basket for Miami. They lead by 7. And here comes New Orleans. That's a foul on Miami, and that's going to send New Orleans to the free throw line. Nice heads up play by Bam to find Pelle Larsson to get him on the board. New Orleans knocks down that first free throw. Andrew Wiggins is back in the game for Miami. He replaces Nikola Jovic. Bam Adebayo will also take a seat on the bench. Kasper Jakajunas is now in the game as New Orleans trail by 5. Miami swinging the ball around. Recovered by Jakajunas, gives it to Jovic. Jovic missing that layup, and it's rebounded by New Orleans again. Alright, here. Ball's knocked loose. They're diving for the ball. It is a frantic sequence right now. Ball was last touched by Miami. Drew Smith almost came away with that steal. But you gotta love and admire the hustle he brings to the floor every night. And that's another 3 for New Orleans. Trey Murphy helping out the Pelicans on offense. Here comes Drew Smith to cutting Jovic, and that's going to be a miss. Rebound recovered by New Orleans. Here comes New Orleans. A long 3. And that one goes out of bounds. I believe that was Trey Murphy trying to show off his heat range. Jovic gives it to Kasper Jakajunas, back to Jovic. Pelle Larsson gives it to Wiggins. And Wiggins with the baseline jam. Took off like Soul Train for that one. As the Heat lead by 4. And here comes the Pelicans. Stolen away by Miami, but Pelle Larsson getting whacked across the face. That's going to be a foul. That's going to send Pelle Larsson to the line. Let's see if it was clear path to the basket. It looked like it was a clear path to the basket. But definitely love the play the Heat drew up for Wiggins. That was a sweet baseline dunk right there. Alright, and we have ourselves an official review right now. Miami leads 41-37. Both teams are in the bonus. From my vantage point, it looked like it was a clear path to the basket foul. So that should send Pelle Larsson to the free throw line for 2 free throws. I think that was Derek Queen. I'm sure that was Derek Queen that got a little handsy there. I'm sorry. Pelle Larsson will go to the line, shoot the technical free throw, and that rims out. So it will be Heat ball. Alright, here comes Kasper Ziakoujunas. Gives it to Andrew Wiggins. Here comes Wiggins. Throws the ball away and is recovered by New Orleans. Pelicans looking for a 3. Here they come attacking the lane. And they get the basket. The Pelicans trail by 2 in this one. Miami so far has 13 bench points to New Orleans 9. And Nikola Jovic bulldozing his way into the lane to give Miami a 4-point lead. And that's some good example of Miami Heat defense right there. Wiggins losing the ball, but Miami recovers it again. So far, it's been a frenetic sequence between these two teams. Larsson now has the ball. Being guarded by Yves Messi. Larsson going to the lane. Gets his shot blocked. Recovered by Jovic. And that will end the first quarter. A very fast-paced, high-scoring, frenetic first quarter. As the Heat lead 43-39. We'll be back for more action in the second quarter. If you have any questions or comments related to Miami Heat basketball or basketball in general, feel free to leave a comment and I'll answer it for you. A comment or a question, and I will answer it for you. And we are back. Score is 43-39, Miami. We are ready to begin the second quarter. Jose Alvarado now in the game for New Orleans. They give it to Williamson, being guarded by Jovic. A three from Jeremiah Fears that rims out. Ball's recovered by Miami. Here comes Jovic. Gives it that's a missed three for Miami. The Pelicans going coast to coast. Missing yet another layup. And here comes Miami. Kasper Jakajunas missing that three. And here comes Zion Williamson. Williamson gives it to Jeremiah Fears, and he knocks down the basket. So we now have ourselves a two-point game. All right, here come the Heat. Wiggins missing that layup. Here comes Jeremiah. Jose Alvarado now has it. Gives it to Jeremiah Fears. Zion Williamson now has it. And Zion Williamson powers through for the dunk. And we now have ourselves a tie game at 43. Zion Williamson right now with 10 points in this game. And here comes New Orleans again after that Heat miss. Jose Alvarado throws the ball away and is recovered by Miami. Jovic to Pella Larson for the dunk. A little European give and go on the fast break as the Heat retake the lead again. Ball is knocked loose. Last touch by Miami, so it'll be Pelicans ball. Alright, and here comes Jeremiah Fears. Ball's knocked loose. Miami diving for the ball. And it's going to be a jump ball. Again, nice hustle from Drew Smith. And of course, we see Myron Gardner in the game for Miami. Alright, Miami wins the tip, and here they go the other way. Miami is swinging the ball around. Still swinging the ball around. That layup is missed. Recovered by Kelaware, but he comes up short with the basket. A nice block from Kelaware. Here comes Miami now. Looking for the alley-oop. Kelaware couldn't get the basket. I mean, it is literal chaos out there. Lots of turnovers so far in this one. Here comes Kasper Jakajunas. Give it to Kelaware for corner three. And Kelaware Superboy Ware. Three for Miami. Scores 48-43. And New Orleans answers right back with a basket of their own. As Derek Queen responds for New Orleans. Pelicans trail by 3. And another missed layup for Kasper Siakam, who comes up with a steal from behind, but wasn't able to get the ball. So another costly turnover for Miami. It would be Pelicans ball yet again. Alright, here comes Jeremiah Fears being guarded by Drew Smith. Looking for the easy alley-oop, but they won't get it. So that's going to be a foul on Myron Gardner for Miami. So that will send Makovich to the line for 2 free throws. I'm sorry, it's going to be side out for New Orleans. Here comes Drew Smith, gives it to Kel Ware. Yaka for 3. And Kasparas, the friendly ghost, Yaka 3 for Miami. And that will prompt a Pelicans timeout. We have a good one, ladies and gentlemen. It may be the second quarter, but the Heat and the Pelicans are making this a very competitive game, with a lot of dives, a lot of hustle, and a lot of three-point shooting. Miami leads 51-45. And we are back. Score is 51-45 Miami. Ball's knocked loose by the Heat, so it'll still be Pelicans ball. Alright, New Orleans having a tough time trying to inbound the ball because of Heat's offense, Heat's defense. Right? New Orleans inbound the ball. And that's broken up by the Heat defense. Miami looking to score again. They give it to Kelly Ware. That's a corner three. That's a miss. Rebound by. No, that goes out of bounds, but it will be Heat ball. Alright, here comes Jeremiah Fears. Gives it to Yves Messi. Here comes Trey Murphy. And he gets the layup under duress as the Pelicans trail by 4. Here comes Kelly Ware with the spin. Missing the basket, but he gets his own putback. And the Heat go up by 6 again. Kelly Ware so far with 5 points and 3 rebounds in this game. And Jeremiah Fears breaks free for the layup. Jeremiah Fears right now with 8 points in this game, going 3 for 4 from the field goal. And Kelly Ware missing that 3-pointer. And here comes the Pelicans. That's going to be a foul on Miami. Like Yves Messi was trying to fight his way through. Sorry, that was Derek Queen trying to fight his way through the Heat's defense. That alley-oop gets broken up, and the ball is recovered by Miami. That's a 3 for the Heat, and that's a miss. Here comes Jose Alvarado. Gives it to Derek Queen. And Derek Queen cuts into the lane and gets the dunk. The Pelicans trail by 2 here, with Derek Queen making 9 points, going 4 for 6 from the field. Bam and Kelly Ware, they are simply attacking the paint, along with Myron Gardner. Myron Gardner and Kelly Ware both finding it difficult to guard. Finding it difficult to score against this Pelicans defense, but Myron Gardner will go to the line for 2 free throws. Gardner makes the first, and we have ourselves a 3-point game. Jeremiah Fears will come out of the game for New Orleans. Jordan Poole re-enters the game for the Pelicans. Myron Gardner makes both free throws, so we now have ourselves a 4-point game. Here comes Jose Alvarado. Alvarado being guarded by Gardner. Alvarado gives it to Queen. Looking for another alley-oop, but they miss. Rebound by Davion Mitchell. Mitchell being guarded by Malkovich. Malkovich with the block, and here comes the Pelicans on a fast break. And that ball gets knocked loose by Miami, so it'll be Pelicans ball. So far in this game, it has been all about rebounds, hustle, defense, and a lot of heart. And that is broken up by Miami's defense. Here comes Myron Gardner, and he flies in to get the basket. The Heat lead by 6 in this one. New Orleans have 13 turnovers compared to Miami 6. Miami right now with 10 points off turnovers. New Orleans only has 9, and that's a 3-pointer for New Orleans. McGowan's with that 3-pointer for Pelicans, cutting that lead to 3. here, nope, that's a missed three from Myron Gardner. And here come the Pelicans again. Looking to tie the game, or that's a three to tie the game. And Trey Murphy knocks it down. And we are now tied at 57 as the Heat calls timeout. All of a sudden, the Pelicans have come storming back into this one, picking their spots with three-pointers as we are tied at 57. And we'll be back for more Heat action. And we are back. We are tied at 57. So far, this has been a back and forth game where it feels like one team has the lead until they don't. So right now, the Heat have possession of the ball, but they're going to need to go on a serious run to reestablish some dominance. Right now, both teams have been throwing their bodies all over the court, especially on defense. Alright, here comes Davion Mitchell. Being guarded by Fierce. That's a three on the way. Norman Powell missing that one. And here comes Zion Williamson. Williamson kicks it out for the corner three. That's a miss. Rebound by Larson. Larson gives it to Davion Mitchell. Back to Larson. Larson missing that layup. And that's going to be Pelicans ball. It will be Pelicans ball. Alright, here comes the warning. Bam Adebayo so far. He has only 4 assists, no points registered. And that pass is broken up by Miami. Jovic, he gets fouled and he will go to the line for 2 free throws. That one's going to be on Jordan Poole. Sorry, Miami will have it side out. They give it to Bam for the quick basket. And Bam Adebayo is now on the board as he gives the Heat the lead. Trey Murphy now has the ball for New Orleans, being guarded by Wiggins. Trey Murphy goes out of bounds, but he was fouled. Right, here it is again. Trey Murphy being guarded by Bam. Bam pushed him out of bounds, I believe. So New Orleans will have his side out. They give it to Zion, and he cuts into the lane to score. And we're all tied at 59. Zion Williamson now with 12 points off 6 for 8 shooting from the field. And that's going to be a foul on, that's going to be last touch by New Orleans. Jordan Poole knocked it out of bounds. And ball's knocked loose again by Jordan Poole. And this one will be out of bounds on the Pelicans. We're still tied at 59 in this game. And here comes Davion Mitchell. Sorry. That's gonna be out of bounds on Davion Mitchell. So it will be Pelicans ball. Here comes Jordan Poole. Flies in. Misses the layup. And here comes Miami. Nice assist from Norman Powell to give Pelle Larsson that layup. As the Heat retake the lead again. But can they capitalize on that build? Can they build on that lead? Ball's knocked loose, out of bounds. Last touch by New Orleans. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Flying in, gives it to Pelle Larsson for 3. Rebound by Bam. And he powers it in. And that's going to prompt yet another New Orleans timeout. I'm sorry. No, I thought it was going to be a New Orleans timeout, but I'm sorry. The Heat lead by 4. Here comes Yves Messi. Messi trying to cross over. Ball's knocked loose, recovered by Miami. Nice defensive effort by the Heat. Larsson gives it to Bam. Here comes Bam. And that ball goes sailing out of bounds, so it'll be Pelicans ball again. I mean, Bam soared for that rebound, and he managed to power it in that last possession. And here comes Zion Williamson being guarded by Bam. Williamson kicks it out to Jordan Poole. Ball's knocked loose yet again by Miami. And Nikola Jovic soars for the lob, and that's going to give Miami a 6-point lead in this game. Nikola Jovic right now with 15 points, going 60% from the field. And that's a long 3 as Trey Murphy knocks it down. Trey Murphy is on fire for the Pelicans. And there's a 3 in return from Go Norman Powell Ranger. The Heat go up by 6. Norman Powell right now with 18 points, going 5 for 6 on the field. From behind the arc, I should say. Miami shot only 50% from 3-point land, while New Orleans have gone 8 for 17. Here comes Norman Powell again. Kicks it out. And that's a missed 3 for Miami. Here goes Norman Powell. Powell driving into the lane, and he gets the layup. And the Heat lead by 8 in this one. And that's going to end the second quarter, as the Heat managed to come up with some points of their own to give themselves an 8-point lead. So at halftime, Miami leads 70-62. So that whole first half was nothing but Heat defense as well as heart and hustle, as both teams were just grinding it out on the floor. I love how the Heat started off on offense with 3-point shooting from Davion Mitchell and Norman Powell to jumpstart them. But then when Nikola Jovic was entered the game, he picked up where they left off and got himself going with some baskets of their own, followed by Pelle Larsson. One glaring note I should point out is Bam Adebayo and Kelly Oubre not asserting their dominance on both ends of the floor. Well, on defense, yes, but on offense, they were getting double teamed and triple teamed, which didn't help them a lot. But I expect for them to get themselves going in the second half, where they can be more of a threat and more of a difference maker for the Heat. So right now it's halftime. If you guys have any basketball comments or questions, or something related to Miami Heat basketball or the NBA, feel free to drop a comment or feel free to ask a question and I will answer it for you guys. So right now it's halftime and I'll be back for third quarter action. Vice style. And we are back, ready to begin the third quarter. So far, this game has been nothing but defense, but we also saw some explosive offense from Norman Powell, Nikola Jovic, and even Davion Mitchell. I'm looking forward to seeing what Bam Adebayo and Kelly Ware can do for the Heat heading into the second half, because they were very quiet in this game. New Orleans Pelicans right now, they've been thriving in the paint with 32 points. 32 of their 62 points have been in the paint. Whereas Miami, they've been knocking down 3-pointers. Trey Murphy III and Zion Williamson, they've been lighting it up for the Pelicans. So let's see what they can do continuing into the second half. Alright, the Pelicans have the ball. Jeremiah Fears kicks it out to Makovic. Missing that corner three, but it'll go out of bounds on New Orleans. So it'll be Heat ball. Alright, and New Orleans is called for a challenge for who last touched the ball. From this vantage point, it looked like Bam touched it last, and not Zion Williamson. Can't really tell from this angle. It looked like both Zion and Bam went up for it at the same time. So we will take a break, and we'll come back with the final decision. The Heat lead 70-62 in this one. Alright, we are back. After the official's decision, it was ruled in favor of New Orleans. But now the Heat have the ball. Bam Adebayo coming up with that miss. Here come the Pelicans again. Evie Missy getting that layup. Derek Queen getting that layup. As the Pelicans trail by 6. Andrew Wiggins gives it to Bam. Bam missing that basket. Here comes Jeremiah Fears from New Orleans. He's going coast to coast. And Makovich is right there for the putback. This New Orleans trail by 4. Here comes Wiggins. Gives it to Kelly Ware for the open 3. He misses that one. Another rebound for New Orleans. Here comes Zion Williamson. Gives it to Trey Murphy. We know what he can do. Gives it to Makovich. Back to Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy kicks it out to Fears for 3. And we now have ourselves a 1-point game. The Pelicans right now are on a 7-0 run. Jeremiah Fears with 11 points, shooting 66 from 3-point land. And there's Wiggins answering back with a layup of his own. Here comes the Pelicans. They lose the ball, recovered by Miami. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Gives it to Norman Powell for 3. And go Norman Powell. Rangers sneaking that long 3. He now has 23 points, going 6 for 7 from 3-point land. Alright, here comes Zion Williamson. And the Pelicans can't answer back with 3 of their own. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Gives it to Powell. Powell being guarded by Fears. Gives it to Wiggins. Out to Bam. And Bam gets fouled and will go to the line for the and 1. So far, Bam has 6 points in this game, shooting only 3 from 8 from the field. Not the kind of usual production we see from Bam. And Bam knocks down the and 1. Miami right now on an 8-0 run, led by Norman Powell, and now Bam. Okay, Jeremiah Fears will go to the line for the and 1. I'm sorry. Oh. New Orleans will have a side out. Point will not count. Alright, here comes Garrett Queen being guarded by Kelly Ware. Garrett Queen missing the layup, and that ball will go out of bounds. Last touch by New Orleans, it will be Heat ball. Alright, and here comes Davion Mitchell. Mitchell pushing it up the floor. Gives it to Norman Powell. Powell being double teamed, and he loses the ball. But nope. Referee said it was last touched by Pelicans, so it'll be Heat ball. Alright, Bam inbounds the ball, gives it to Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell gives it to Norman Powell. Kelly Ware recovers the loose ball. Gives it to Davion Mitchell for 3. That rims out. Recovered by Davion Mitchell, but he stepped out of bounds. So it'll be Pelicans ball. Alright, right now, here comes Jeremiah Fears. Ball's knocked loose, he gets fouled. That one's going to be on Davion Mitchell. Alright, New Orleans will have his side out. Here's Derek Queen. Gives it to Trey Murphy. Murphy hands it off to Queen. Back to Fears. Here comes Derek Fears. Sorry, Jeremiah Fears, excuse me. And he knocks down the basket. Here comes Norman Powell. Missing that step back. Rebound by New Orleans. Jeremiah Fears in this game has 13 points, all 5 for 7 shooting from the field. And here comes Trey Murphy. Step back three. And it rims out. Nice defense from Kellogg Wham. Bam. Finds Norman Powell for three. And go Norman Powell Ranger again for three. That man is unconscious right now. 26 points, 7 of 8 shooting from three-point land. And here's Jeremiah Fears. Gives it to Zion. Back to Fears for three. And he couldn't respond with that one. That was a nice feed from Bam, finding Norman Powell for the three-pointer. Alright, here comes Jeremiah. So here comes Davion Mitchell. Mitchell being guarded by Fears. Bam setting the pick. That's a three. And Pella Larson missing that one. But he gets his own rebound. And he gets the reverse layup. And that's going to prompt a timeout for New Orleans. The Heat are now on a roll as they've been on a 10-0 run, led by Norman Powell and Davion Mitchell, and now we got Pella Larson scoring again. The Heat lead 83-71, and we'll be back for more Heat action. And we are back. We got Flavor Flav in the house for watching the Heat game right now. So right now it is a 83-71 lead for Miami. And the pass is broken up by the Heat. Here comes Norman Powell. Norman Powell. And that man continues to be unconscious. Go Norman Powell Ranger for 3 for Miami. Norman Powell now with 29 points, going 8 for 9 from three-point land. Norman Powell is feeling it right now. And he could be an all-star vote in my book right now. Well, he is an all-star vote in my book, for sure. Here comes Jeremiah Fears, guarded by Pella Larson. Passes it out to Trey Murphy. And that's a missed basket, but it's recovered by McAbee. No, they're saying it's a 24-second violation on New Orleans. So basket does not count. And here come the Heat. Pella Larson being guarded by Petty. Kick ball violation on New Orleans. This was going to be on Pepe. The Heat right now are on a 16-2 run, all led by Norman Powell. Jordan Poole's back in the game for New Orleans. And here comes Davion Mitchell. Gives it to Pella Larson. Back to Mitchell. Back to Larson again. And Larson knocks it down under duress. Pella Larson now with 10 points. Going 5 for 12 from the field. And here comes Trey Murphy. So far in this game, Miami has 32 bench points to New Orleans 12. The Pelicans have committed 21 turnovers to Miami 7. And on that last sequence, that was a foul on Heavy going towards Pella Larson. Alright, Miami will have a side out. Davion Mitchell now has the ball. He gives it to Bam. Here comes Bam. Backing him down. Bam missing that basket, but it's rebounded by New Orleans. Here comes Derek. I'm not Derek. New Orleans missing that layup. Here comes Norman Powell. Ball's not loose, but it's going to be last touch by the Pelicans. So far, Miami's been on an 18-2 run. And their lead looks to continue to grow. Alright, Bam now has the ball. Step back. Missing that one. And here comes New Orleans. Trey Murphy now has the ball, being guarded by Pella Larson. And they're swinging the ball around. Looking to get something on offense, but can't. Norman Powell now has it. Gives it to Bam. Almost with the alley-oop, but that's going to be last touch by New Orleans. Drew Smith is now in the game for Miami. Davion Mitchell will take a seat on the bench. Alright, that's an open three for Bam. And Bam Adebayo knocks it down. And that will give Miami a 21-2 run in this game, as the Heat lead by 20 in this one. That's a long three for New Orleans. That's a miss. Right. They recover. Looking to get something going. They still can't get a bucket. And here comes Drew Smith. Flying down to the lane. But it cost him a turnover. And New Orleans still can't get a bucket. Here comes Drew Smith with a nice crossover. Here's a Jovic missing that corner three. New Orleans have possession of the ball again. Still looking for another basket to end this run. And still nothing. Here comes Bam. Gives it to Drew Smith, and I think that's going to be an offensive foul. Yes, it will be an offensive foul on Miami. And Norman Powell will come out of the game for Miami. Alright, here comes New Orleans. That's a corner three from Jose Alvarado, and that ends Miami's 21-2 run for now. Finally, the Pelicans get something going. And it's a corner three from Jose Alvarado. And Nikola Jovic with an errant pass, and here comes New Orleans again. Nice block by Jovic, but that's going to go out of bounds on the Heat. And Tyler Larson, he is active in the game. He's heading to the back to be evaluated. I don't know what injury could have occurred, but we'll find out later on. Kasper Jr. going for the layup, but I think he got fouled. Alright, Miami will inbound the ball. Alright, Kasper Jr. now has the ball. Gives it to Jovic for three. And is recovered by New Orleans. Here comes Jose Alvarado. Alvarado now. Sliding into the lane. And another missed opportunity for New Orleans. Here comes Jr. Gives it to Jovic. To Bam for the open three. And another rebound for New Orleans. So far in this one, Miami still has a solid lead, but they're throwing up bricks just like New Orleans. And the Pelicans answer with a big three from Jordan Poole. He has 6 points, but shooting only 40% from three-point land. Here comes Drew Smith. Gives it to Wiggins. And Wiggins gets a sky hook as Miami answers back. Wiggins right now with 8 points, going 3 for 7 from the field. Here comes Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole driving into the lane. Gives it to Alvarado. And Jose Alvarado airballs it. So that will be out of bounds and will be Heat ball. Alright, PV will come out of the game for New Orleans. Zion Williamson is back in the game for New Orleans. Here comes Andrew Wiggins. Kasper Jr. has it. Back to Wiggins. In the corner, Jovic. Kasper Jr. gets fouled. And will go to the line for some free throws. That foul is on Jordan Poole. So it looks like Miami will have the ball side out instead. Alright, here comes Nikola Jovic. That ball is air ball, and that's going to be a 20-per-second violation on Miami. It will be New Orleans ball. Alright, here comes Jordan Poole, missing that three, and that will end the third quarter. It was a very interesting third quarter with a lot of scoring, plus some missed shots. I know both teams has to be tired at this point. But Miami leads 93-77, and we'll be back for the fourth quarter. Mom. Hey, Mom. You know? Alright. And we are back. Sorry for the delay, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, the fourth quarter is well on the way, with Miami having a 14-point lead over New Orleans. Right now, Jordan Poole has the ball. Gives it to Jeremiah Fears. Ball is intercepted, knocked loose, and here comes Davion Mitchell. Mitchell finding Nikola Jovic. The Pelicans were on a 9-2 run before the Heat made that basket right here. But Nikola Jovic will go to the line. Miami so far with 28 points off turnovers to New Orleans' 12. And if I said it once, I'll say it again. You don't foul a player when they're going for a three. Hence why Nikola Jovic is at the line for 3 free throws. He knocks, so we have a 14-point lead still. Jovic missing the second. And Jovic makes 2 of 3 from the line. So we now have ourselves a 15-point game. Alright, here comes Jose Alvarado. Alvarado gets it out the pool. Back to Alvarado for 3. That's a miss. Rebound by Miami. Alright, Pella Larson's back in the game. Gives it to Kel'el Ware. And Kel'el Ware gets a reverse layup. And we now have ourselves a 17-point game. And that one goes sailing out of bounds for New Orleans. So it will be Heat ball. Here comes Pella Larson again, flying through the lane. He gets his own rebound. Fighting for it, but he will go to the line for 2 free throws. I'm loving the intensity and the effort Miami is showing right now. They are really in control of this game. Alright, here comes Pella Larson. He makes the first, and that will give us an 18-point lead. And he goes 1 of 2 from the line. Here comes Jordan Poole. Gives the ball to that's Trey Murphy with the corner 3, and he knocks it down. Trey Murphy right now with 24 points, shooting 50% from behind the arc. And Davion Mitchell missing that one. Rebound by Kel'el Ware, who gets the rebound and the putback. Kel'el Ware with a near double-double of 9 points and 8 rebounds as the Heat lead by 17. And that's another 3 for for Jeremiah Fears. He has 16 points, shooting 60% from behind the arc. New Orleans coming away with that steal, and here comes Jeremiah Fears again, missing that layup. Here comes Pelle Larsson, alley-oop to Khalil Super Bowl Ware as the Heat lead by 16. Khalil now with 11 points, and he gets another rebound. Here comes Pelle Larsson, directing traffic. Gives it to Davion Mitchell. Gives it to Pelle Larsson, almost losing the ball. Larsson for three. And Pelle Larsson, a read for Miami. And that's going to lead to a Pelicans timeout. Miami right now on a roll, and they are in cruise control right now. They lead this game 111 to 92. Yeah, we'll be back for more Heat action. Alright, and we are back, ready for the fourth quarter follow-up. Miami so far have 43 points made, all of which from the three-point line. Norman Powell with 29 points, shooting 80% from behind the arc. And the Heat defense has been stifling in the third quarter, limiting the Pelicans to only 15 points with 24% shooting from the field. So right now, Miami looks very dominant, and they have a 19-point lead in this game. All right, and here comes Jose Alvarado. Gives the ball to Derek Queen. Here he comes. Kicks it out to Alvarado, to Trey Murphy, and Trey Murphy knocks down the three. So now we have ourselves a 16-point game. Trey Murphy now with 27 points, going 7 from 14 from behind the arc. Here comes Pelle Larsson, coming up empty with that basket, and is rebounded by Jose Alvarado. And a nice alley-oop to Carlo Makovic from Jeremiah Fears. And Pella Larson again from Miami with a reverse layup. So far this is a 16-point game. And that's a 3 from Alvarado. He misses it. Rebound by Kelly Ware. That will give him a double-double of 11 points and 10 rebounds. Love to see that for him. And speaking of loving that for him, almost a 3 for Norman Powell. Here comes Derek Queen. Was looking for the foul but couldn't get it. Here comes Powell again. Throws it up. And Kelly Ware will go to the line for 2 free throws. Kelly Ware knocks down the first. And he misses the second one. There he goes 1 of 2 from the line. The Heat have a 17-point lead in this game. Jose Alvarado directing traffic for New Orleans. That's a missed 3. Rebound by Kelly Ware. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Guarded by Alvarado. The crossover. Missing that basket. Rebound by Alvarado. And here comes Jeremiah Fears for 3, and he knocks it down. So we now have a 14-point lead in this game. Jeremiah Fears going with 19 points, going 4 for 6 from behind the arc. And that's going to be a timeout for Miami. It's so far so good for Miami. They have a solid lead, but they need to maintain it. The Heat lead at 114 to 100. And we'll be back for more Heat action. And we are back. Miami has a 14-point lead in this game. Bam Adebayo gets the skyhook and is now a 16-point lead for the Heat. Bam right now with 12 points, going 5 for 13 from the field. And here comes Trey Murphy. Kicks it out to Alvarado for 3. Rebound, nope, stolen away by Miami. Davion Mitchell now has it. Going coast to coast and missing that layup. Here comes Jeremiah Fears. Missing that layup. And it's back to Miami again. Here comes Pella Larson. Finds Kelly Ware for the easy dunk. And we now have ourselves an 18-point lead. Kelly Ware with 14 points, going 50% from the field. And Derek Queen tried to bang on the boards, but couldn't. So he will go to the line for 2 free throws. Derek Queen makes the first. And Derek Queen makes both free throws. So it's now a 16-point lead. A 16-point game for the Pelicans. A 16-point game so far. Derek Queen with 13 points, going 75% from the free throw line. As Norman Powell goes and gets a layup, he now has 31 points, going 10 for 14 from the field. And here comes Alvarado. I'm sorry, that was Jeremiah Fears with the step back. Jeremiah Fears right now with 21 points, going 8 for 13 from the field. Here comes Norman Powell. Powell gives it to Bam. Norman Powell, open three. And go Norman Powell, Ranger 3 for Miami. He now has 34 points, going 9 from 12 from behind the arc. And that's going to be a rebound for Bam. A 3 for Bam. That's a no-go. Rebound by Kelly Ware. And he gets the skyhook put back. The Heat now leading by 21 with Kelly Ware with 16 points, shooting 7 for 13 from the field. It has been all Norman Powell so far in this game. And he has been showing up and showing out. And now we have a new squad in for Miami. New Orleans looking to do something. Pevy gets the basket under the rest. So it's now a 19-point game. Because Myron Gardner, we saw him earlier in the game. Simone Fontecchio now has the ball. Gardner gives it to Yakajunas. Yakajunas missing that basket. Rebound by New Orleans. Recovered by Yakajunas. But that's going to be a foul on Miami. Alright, New Orleans has the ball. Not much they can do right now. And this one will be over. The Heat win it 125-106. You know, talk about a comeback after last night's game against Minnesota. Miami needed a comeback win, and this one, even though it was against a tough yet lowly team like New Orleans, Miami managed to find their way back into this one. They didn't take anything for chance, and Norman Powell was on fire in this game. I mean, when the second he hit his first three, it looked like he couldn't miss a shot. It looked like everything was just falling down for him. Norman Powell was just electric in that game. And he led the way for the Heat on offense. Another good thing that helped Miami was their defense. Going back to last night's game against Minnesota, Miami looked like their offense couldn't get anything going. But not their defense couldn't get anything going. But seeing the hustle, the grit, determination, and the rawness that the defense showed tonight, Miami definitely got back on track in that department, as well as rebounding. Another good thing that Miami did, aside from the 3-pointers, was getting into the lane and trying to rough it up against guys like Derek Queen and Yves Messi and Zion Williamson. So the Heat definitely come out with a lot of determination to get their win back. So this is a very excellent game for both teams, for Miami in general. Alright, for the Heat. Norman Powell led the way with 34 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. Bam Adebayo had 12 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Andrew Wiggins with 10 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists. Nikola Jovic came off the bench with 19 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals, and 2 blocks. Love that for him. And Pelle Larsson had 16 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals. Also coming off the bench. And Kelly Ware was a double-double of 16 points and 12 rebounds. As for the New Orleans Pelicans, Jeremiah Fears had 21 points. Trey Murphy had 27 points. Derek Queen with 13 points. Zion Williamson with 12 points. So, a big win for Miami here on their home court, and they do it in style. And the next time we see the Heat, they will be on a 4-game road trip. They will be on a 4-game road trip, heading out into the Midwest, and which sees them going up against teams from the Northwest Division, Central Division, Northwest and Central Division, I should say. Yes, their next game, it will be on the road against the Minnesota Timberwolves in a rematch from last night's game. You can catch that game in a nationally televised. It's going to be nationally televised on NBC and Peacock. Again, the Heat and the Timberwolves, Tuesday night on NBC and Peacock. That one should be a fun one. And hopefully the Heat will learn. Hopefully the Heat will have learned from these last 2 games at home, and they can apply that going up against Minnesota for the rematch. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in or lurking, or just wanted to see what the scoreboard was for this game, as well as the play-by-play that I've delivered. It's a new year. It's a new day. I want you guys to take care of each other, love each other, look out for one another, be kind to one another, and always show grace and gratitude no matter what. Because you never know when that day comes. I'm Deron Butler, reminding you to always run through the paint. Take care. I'll see you guys on the next stream. And as always, go Heat. Take care.